Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're plunging into some big ideas today, trying to cut through the noise. Because, let's be honest, in a world where appearances can, well, definitely deceive and opinions shift constantly, there's this real need for people who chase truth, wherever it leads.
Mm.
People who can make what our source today calls righteous judgments.
Mm.
So that's our focus.
Mm.
What does it actually take? We're exploring juridical insight. It sounds fancy, but think of it like X-ray vision for truth,
Mm-hmm.
seeing past the surface, and then the skill to tell truth from falsehood, and maybe toughest of all, the integrity, the guts, really, to act on what you find.
Yeah, and the text we're drawing from today is called General Counsel, Juridical Insight, Skill, and Integrity. It's by Mark Mountjoy. It's a really powerful piece, a call for, well, exactly what you said, truth-seeking, ethical judgment. It lays out a kind of blueprint for leadership.
Right. So our mission for you listening is to unpack these qualities. Why are they so vital right now? And importantly, how can you actually develop them? Think of this as maybe a shortcut to being truly well-equipped in this complex world, ready to dig in.
Let's do it.
You know, it really feels like we're just swimming in snap judgments these days, doesn't it? Instant takes everywhere. Our source kicks off by challenging that. It brings up John 7:24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Mountjoy calls this like a fundamental ethical command for anyone with influence. Move beyond the superficial.
Exactly. And it's such a stark contrast to, the way things often work now, social media especially. First impressions are everything, right? Careful digging, not so much.
Yeah.
And the essay argues this is sort of bled into decision-making everywhere, personal, professional. We react first, think later, maybe even condemn before we actually understand.
It makes you stop and think, what does that righteous judgment actually demand? It's clearly not just a quick opinion. It means pausing before jumping to conclusions. It means asking, okay, what's really going on underneath? Looking past the nice wrapping or the political label or even what feels comfortable to believe.
Precisely. Which brings us nicely to the first pillar the author talks about, juridical insight. Seeing beyond the obvious, he defines it as this capacity, this ability, to see the core of an issue when others miss it, or sometimes maybe choose to ignore it. It's presented as both, well, maybe a gift, but also something you have to discipline yourself to do. It takes effort.
And a key part of that insight, the essay argues, is the courage to seek truth without regard to persons. This idea, you find it in a lot of wisdom traditions, basically means not showing favoritism based on, how rich someone is or their status or if it's convenient.
Right.
Real judgment, righteous judgment, is blind to all that. It just asks what's true, what's right here, what does justice need no matter who's involved.
And the source gives some really potent examples of where this gets violated in leadership. Things we see all the time, unfortunately, like financial wrongdoing that gets swept under the rug because the person's a big donor. Or abuse cases getting downplayed because the accused is, a big name. Or maybe ignoring ethical problems or errors because fixing them would be politically costly.
Yeah, rocking the boat.
Exactly. Or just letting injustices continue because fixing them would mess up established relationships. The essay calls it a need for moral courage, being willing to question things, even systems you might benefit from or helped build.
That ties into another interesting bit about insight, the art of silent observation. This isn't about being passive, is it? It's described more like an active thing, watching, listening, noticing the details others skim over, being present and perceptive, not just reacting instantly.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a specific example used in the text. Imagine someone gets some advice. On the surface, it sounds fine, reasonable, maybe even comforting. But a leader with this juridical insight, they observe silently, they listen, and they might recognize that this okay-sounding advice is actually, well, deeply problematic.
How so?
Because maybe it subtly undermines a really core principle. Perhaps it suggests going around a direct authority or responsibility because it seems easier or less scary. It's that ability to spot the hidden implications, to see how something that feels good in the moment could actually erode something fundamental. That's the insight.
Okay, so insight helps us see clearly. But then what? Knowing isn't enough, right? The source is clear. Judgment isn't just an attitude. It's a skill, something you can actually get better at. It's about using that insight.
Right. And the essay breaks down the components of this skill really well. First, analytical thinking, being able to take complex stuff apart, see cause and effect, spot the patterns.
Okay.
Then emotional intelligence, reading people, understanding motivations, maybe hidden ones, and knowing when your own emotions or others are muddying the waters.
That's huge.
It is. Then historical perspective, putting things in context, learning from the past so you don't just repeat mistakes. Seems obvious, but often missed.
Yeah, history matters.
And finally, moral clarity. Knowing the difference between competing values, holding on to your ethical standards when things get tough, knowing your lines.
So you have the insight, you develop the skill to analyze, but then how do you actually share the truth you found? Especially if it's difficult. Mountjoy talks about the power of restraint in speaking truth. He quotes Proverbs. By much forbearance is a prince persuaded, and a soft tongue breaketh the bone.
Which feels pretty countercultural right now with all the shouting and harsh criticism online and elsewhere.
Definitely.
The essay stresses the goal isn't just proving you're right, it's being effective. Making positive change happen. It warns against being what it calls an enfant terrible, someone who loves shocking people with blunt truths just for the sake of it.
Yeah, the provocateur.
Or the opposite, maybe, the bull in a china shop, just crashing through, causing damage without care. The point is, patience, timing, the right words, they often achieve far more than yelling. They can break through resistance.
And that connects to another point. Humility in dealing with fellow believers, or really anyone you disagree with but need to influence. It cautions against speaking too stridently, too harshly, even when you're absolutely convinced someone else is wrong.
Exactly. The essay suggests our role isn't to be the final judge and jury. It's more like, speak the truth, yes, but do it in love, model a better way, and trust that true conviction, real change, comes from something bigger than our condemnation. We don't have that authority. Our strength is in our own integrity, our own actions. You can still wish people well, pray for them, even if you strongly disagree. It's being a faithful witness, not a self-appointed judge.
Which leads us straight into that third pillar, integrity.
Yeah.
The courage to act.
Yes. Integrity, as Mountjoy defines it, is the bridge. It connects knowing what's right with actually doing what's right. It means saying, I was wrong when you were. It means changing your mind when the evidence demands it, even if it's awkward. And it means making decisions based on truth, not what's easy or popular.
That sounds like maybe the hardest part. The essay calls it the courage to act on uncomfortable truths. It frames this as potentially the biggest leadership failure, knowing the truth, but then hesitating, rationalizing delay, hoping someone else deals with it.
It really is a huge hurdle.
Yeah.
Mountjoy says it very bluntly. Leadership without courage is merely management. And ethical leadership. Without that courage, it's just not real. It's a contradiction. This kind of courage means you have to accept you might be wrong about things you've believed for a long time, structures you built, stories you told.
That takes humility.
A lot of it. And it means facing conflict, because truth often challenges power. And it means being willing to lose things, maybe relationships, your position, security, popularity. Integrity says you weigh those costs and you choose truth anyway.
Wow. It all comes back to what the source calls the ultimate test of stewardship. Leaders, anyone with influence really, they'll have to account for how they handled truth. Did they squash it to protect someone? Or did they twist it, use it like a weapon? The essay says truth is a gift, not something to be played with.
And taking that longer view, the long view of leadership, Mountjoy points out that history doesn't usually remember the leaders who avoided all controversy. It remembers the ones who stood for truth when it was unpopular, the ones who challenged bad systems, spoke for those without a voice, pushed for justice, even at great personal cost.
Makes you think.
It does.
Yeah.
What will people say about us, about our leadership, looking back?
So, okay, this is all incredibly important, but how do we actually do it? What are the practical steps to cultivate insight, skill, integrity? The source offers some clear ideas. First, setting up processes that actually seek truth, like systems for honest reporting, really protecting whistleblowers, rewarding people who bring forward those uncomfortable truths.
Yeah, making it safe, even encourage, and then committing to keep learning, developing your skills in investigation, analysis, discernment. That's the skill part. Where do you need to get better at sorting fact from fiction or understanding complex data? Actively work on that.
Good point. And building accountability. Surrounding yourself with people you trust to challenge you, people who aren't just yes men, who have permission to poke holes in your assumptions and keep you honest. And practicing moral courage in the small things, day to day. That's the training ground, right? Integrity isn't built overnight.
Absolutely not. It's built in those small choices. And finally, I think just accepting the reality of leadership. Real leadership, the kind we're talking about. It can be lonely. It can be costly. You will be misunderstood sometimes. Accepting that difficulty is almost a prerequisite for having genuine, lasting influence.
So to wrap it up, the message seems incredibly clear for our time. Developing insight, skill, and integrity isn't just nice to have. It's essential. It's fundamental for any kind of real leadership, effective, ethical, impactful leadership. especially now.
And the impact is profound. Cultivating these qualities doesn't just change how you see the world. It changes how you act in the world. It changes your influence, letting you move with more clarity and purpose. It sets you apart.
So here's something to chew on. In this world, just flooded with information, drowning in snap judgments, how could developing these three qualities, insight, skill, integrity, transform not just your understanding, but your actual influence in every part of your life?